Welcome to Core Finance, where we're joined by Clem Chambers, who's the founder at ADVFN. How are you today, Clem?
Very good, thank you. Very good.
All right, we're just discussing offline how many things you got right. One of the things that I remember from what you said a while back now was that even though we voted to leave the European Union, the powers that be wouldn't let it happen, and so it's come to pass.
Well, we'll see. We'll see with that. I mean, there's absolutely not leaving and then half leaving or theoretically leaving, etc., etc. And two, there's a second referendum if there is one. There will be some kind of leaving going on, but yeah, it's not what people voted for certain. But yeah, well, there you go. There you go. I mean, I was amazed that they let Article 50 happen, to be honest with you. They could have just said, no, it's advisory. Thanks for the advice, but no. Like every other European country has done in a referendum. When they voted against the referendum or Europe, they've just said, oh, no, changed our minds. We're not going to do what the referendum said. I mean, Greece was a perfect example, wasn't it? Yeah, let's default on all our loans, said the people, after the government had specifically offered them a referendum. And then they just said, yeah, well, we won't do that then.
But isn't the irony also, I mean, just I won't because obviously it's been talked to death, but I think the only point that hasn't been talked to death is that all the people clamouring for a second vote are assuming that the second vote would be a Remain vote, not a Brexit vote. I mean, it could be the case that it's a bigger vote in favour of Brexit. Then what would they do? Have a third vote?
Well, I mean, I think the English are famously bloody minded, so there's a good chance that they would vote for a proper Brexit. But would they get it? Yeah, I mean, I think that, well, it's always going to happen that Europe was going to nail the UK to a tree over it. They have to. If they don't nail the UK, then everybody in Europe's going to want one. The Italian's going to want one. The Greek's going to want one. Portugal's going to want one. Spain's going to want one. They're all going to want one, or they're all going to want to cause a load of trouble to get better terms for their little group. So, you know, Europe has to hold a hard line. Otherwise, it would potentially fracture the whole EU thing. And, you know, it's the irony that's not lost on me is the people that voted for Brexit are the ones that are going to be hurt the most, and the people that voted to remain are the ones that are going to be hurt the most by remaining. Everyone's got it the wrong way around. Same with Trump. People that voted for Trump shouldn't have voted for Trump, and people that didn't vote for Trump should have voted for him. So it's a peculiar world of topsy-turvy internet thinking.
Well, I suppose it's also the case that as the will of, you know, when you vote for something, you don't actually get it. So you sort of vote for what you don't want in the hope that it'll be the other way around. But going on to another topic, which is, I suppose, one which was doomed to fail, the story of Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies. You've been a bearer of them for, well, probably since they started. But isn't that a case of the central banks could never allow cryptocurrencies to succeed?
No, let me get it straight. The year before last, I was a bull and I made just a ton of money because we all know that chart. Zach, you of all people know
Yes.
that chart. And when it goes vertical and it goes into, you know, total champagne mode, you sell. And then it collapses, and it collapsed. Now, it's taken a lot longer for it to get down to levels that I thought it would get to. I thought it'd get there much faster. And I still think there's potential for a move down to 2,500. And perhaps even as low as 1,000 if we get a proper, you know, a capitulation, or even down to 2,500 would be a proper capitulation. But it will come back, and it will come back like a incredible comeback. And we will see 20,000 again. We will see perhaps 50,000, perhaps 100,000 again. And that's going to come in the next few years. This is just 1995 in technology. So I was a bit worried that maybe we'd seen 2,000, but I'm absolutely convinced that this is the early 90s in terms of technology. You know, remember those days. And, you know, we will see another, inverted commas, bubble. We will see another exponential rise. In about 18 months, Bitcoin mining rewards is going to halve. And that's going to double the price right there. You know, these cryptocurrencies should not be written off. It's a tiny little market at the moment. It's now pretty much sub 100 billion. Things driving it, like the ICOs, they've gone away, but they will come back because ICOs are a great way for companies to raise money. And proper companies and proper startups will go the ICO route, and that will drive the value of tokens in things like Ethereum and the other token-based smart contract coins. And Bitcoin, you know, it could go down to 1,000, but it will go to the moon. it is a better kind of currency when you're doing international business, for example. That will come back. So it's just the crypto winter that we're going through, and that will end sometime in the next few months. When you see either a very strong rally from these levels, one that breaks the trend, or a very strong crash from here, then that will be the sign that the new wave for crypto is on its way. There aren't that many cryptocurrencies out there. People think there's 2,000, but there's only about 300. There's plenty of ERC tokens, Ethereum tokens or ICOs, but you knock them out. There's plenty of private coins run by people where you can't mine it. Things like Tether, things like it's not going to come to mind now. I've said it. Stellar, for example. There's plenty of those. When you strip all them out and get back to Bitcoin style coins, mineable, distributed, not controlled, centrally controlled, there's really not many at all. I think there's 200 or 300 of them that are actually listed on exchanges. And it's a minute market, sub 100 billion now. So it's now the equivalent of basically the pink sheet market in America or the next market in the UK. It's a small market cap industry, but the amount of interest in these coins is huge. There's an immense global interest in cryptocurrency, and that is what will drive the valuation, because the interest alone on Google Trends for Bitcoin dwarfs NYSE and NASDAQ. It dwarfs them.
Well, yeah, but that's the point. The problem is, in order for Bitcoin to win, or the cryptos to win, the conventional stock exchanges have to lose, and the central banks have to lose, and fiat currencies have to lose. So how can we have a world with both there in parallel?
Well, you saw it on the weekend in Paris, didn't you? People in yellow jackets taking the Arc de Triomphe. They pushed the whole of the French police force out of central Paris. Yeah, and that's the new reality of the internet. That's internet politics at work there, as is Donald Trump, as is Brexit, and you will see that with crypto. The internet was meant to change everything. Well, it took a bit longer than expected, and it is right now changing everything. So you will see crypto, like Bitcoin, becoming part of the scene, part of the general milieu of ways of transacting. In the same way as American Express lunch credit cards, remember that? Not credit cards, travelers checks. You remember them? Today, millions of people all over Europe buy their lunch with vouchers. Yeah. So token currencies, it's nothing rare. It's just been very difficult to get them working because the actual installed equipment, the barrier of entry has been pretty high. With crypto tokens and cryptocurrencies, the barrier of entry is very low. So it's nothing new, really. There are very novel parts of that, like the blockchain technology. But vouchers, nothing new about vouchers. You can go to Tesco's right now with vouchers and get stuff that's equivalent to money. So that is here now and is not going to go away. And it's going to add a lot of value. And it's early days for crypto, even though it's 10 years for Bitcoin. So in another 10 years, you'll see big changes, and they will be to the bull side. We just got to get this bear market out of the way. So that's another one of my predictions for next year. And you'll be able to say, "Oh, you were right about that, Clem." I hope so. Anyway,
and just to finish off, we've had a bit of a surge for the stock market. First trading day of December. Presumably, the fund managers writing checks with their clients' money to buy some shares for the end of the year. Is it going to be a typical end of year rally?
I don't know. What I see in the markets right now is the base of, the big W, the bounce W that everybody prays for. So, if it holds, we could get that rally. I mean, what I like to do when it comes to investing and trading is get into a position where you can say it's either going to go up a lot from here or down a lot, but it's not going to mess about. And we've got into that position with the markets. I think we're going to get a leg down. It really comes back to what the Federal Reserve says with a reverse QE, whether they, go light on that or pump some more in up to Christmas. I think I'm 75% in cash, so I tend towards the downside. But if it breaks down from here, it breaks that W, it's going to fall as far as it's already fallen from the high. So that's going to be a big 10 to 12% drop. That'll be edge of crash territory. If it doesn't, it's going to go straight back up and make that big W. So it's either a big leg down or a big leg up, just like Bitcoin is at the moment. And I would say 2/3, I'm in for a big leg down. Obviously, the market will rally today because of the lack of trade war. Mr. Trump and Mr. Xi getting together and having a truce. And that's a big deal, actually, because the Trump war on trade really could be a major headwind for all the markets. So if he's already declaring a truce with China, that's a good sign, perhaps. But, it could go anyway, couldn't it? But that's why we're getting a rally today. Whether we get that W or whether we get that crash, it should really find out in the next few days.
Clem Chambers, founder at ADVFN, thank you very much indeed.
See you, Zach. Bye-bye.